Welcome to News Edge, your sharpest source for daily headlines and deep dives. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. History isn't always made in chaos. Sometimes it unfolds in silence, in the echo of footsteps down marble corridors, or in the hush that settles before something monumental occurs. Sometimes it's a quiet gesture, a handshake, a look, that changes everything. These small moments, often overlooked, can carry the weight of decades and the hopes of millions. These moments can shift the ground beneath us, redraw political maps and alter the course of nations. In a single instant, the future can be rewritten, and the world can find itself on a new path. This week, we witnessed one of those moments. The world paused, holding its breath, as history quietly turned a page. At the center, Donald J. Trump, a man who has made a career out of defying expectations, challenging norms, and seizing the spotlight in ways few others have. What happened was unexpected, and it will be talked about for years. It's the kind of event that will be replayed, analyzed, and debated by historians and citizens alike. We often think of history as something distant, but it's happening right now, shaping our future. The events we witness today will become the stories we tell tomorrow. The decisions and alliances formed today will define tomorrow's world. Every signature, every agreement, every handshake can ripple outward, affecting lives across the globe. That's why we must pay attention. These are not just headlines. They are the building blocks of our collective destiny. This week, Trump, known for confrontation, did something no one saw coming. In a single gesture, he shifted the narrative and left the world guessing about what comes next. His public life has always been about breaking the mold, from real estate to reality TV to the presidency. He's a figure who thrives on unpredictability and reinvention. Whether you love or hate him, you can't ignore him. His presence commands attention, sparking debate and dividing opinion wherever he goes. Even out of office, he commands the spotlight and the American story. His influence lingers, shaping conversations and decisions at every level. This single event could change his party, our debates, and even America's place in the world. The ripple effects may be felt for generations. Everyone is asking, why did this happen? What does it mean? The questions are urgent, and the answers are anything but simple. We'll explore the man, the moment, and the consequences. We'll look beyond the headlines to understand the forces at play, because when history is made, it's not enough to witness it. We must understand it. Only then can we truly grasp its impact on our lives. And you deserve to know why this moment matters. It's your story too, unfolding in real time. Let's break down what just happened, and why it could change everything. Together, we'll uncover the significance behind the spectacle. The story starts with a handshake, but it's about much more. It's about power, legacy, and the future we're all stepping into. This is a turning point in American history, and as the sun rises on a new chapter, we're here to witness and understand it together. To really understand what's happening this week, we need to take a step back and remember who Donald Trump is, and how he became such a defining figure in American life. Long before he entered politics, Trump was a larger-than-life New York businessman famous for building skyscrapers and luxury properties with his name emblazoned in gold letters. He cultivated an image as a symbol of wealth, ambition, and relentless self-promotion, branding himself as a winner in every sense of the word. Then came The Apprentice, the hit reality show where his catchphrase, "You're fired," turned him into a household name and a pop culture icon. On TV, he was tough, decisive, and always in control. At least, that's how millions of viewers saw him week after week. This carefully crafted persona shaped public perception, making him a familiar face long before he ever announced a run for office. In 2016, he shocked the world by running for president, and against all odds, he won, upending the political establishment. His campaign was direct, often controversial, and struck a chord with voters who felt ignored by traditional politicians. He promised to make America great again, and his presidency became 4 years of non-stop headlines, fierce debates, and constant conflict. Supporters saw a fighter who stood up for them, opponents saw a threat to democracy and the status quo. Trump didn't just lead, he polarized the nation, creating a divide where people either loved him or loathed him, with little in between. Even after leaving office, he remained the undisputed leader of a massive political movement, with millions still loyal to his vision. His influence didn't fade. If anything, it grew stronger, shaping the national conversation and the future of his party. And now, this week, he's done the unthinkable, again, capturing the world's attention. Understanding his past, his rise, his reinventions, and his disruptions, is key to understanding why this moment matters so much. Trump's story is one of constant reinvention, disruption, and a knack for staying in the spotlight no matter what. He thrives on surprise, on shaking things up, and this week was no exception. He once again changed the game. The man who built his brand on division just made a move that hints at unity, leaving both supporters and critics stunned. That's why everyone, politicians, journalists, and everyday people, is paying close attention right now. The stage was set for something historic, and the world is watching to see what happens next. The road to this moment began with the 2024 election, one of the most divisive in memory. Trump ran to reclaim the White House, facing off against President Joe Biden. The campaign was fierce, the country more polarized than ever. Issues like the economy, immigration, and democracy itself were on the line. The results were razor thin. Biden won, but the nation was left exhausted and divided. The loss didn't end the fight, it deepened it. America felt stuck, with leaders arguing and little progress made. People were tired of endless conflict and wanted real solutions. In this climate, Trump remained a powerful force, rallying his base and criticizing the administration. Meanwhile, California Governor Gavin Newsom emerged as a leading Democrat and potential presidential contender. The two men represented opposite visions for America. No one expected them to find common ground. The political landscape was a battlefield, until something unexpected happened. The country's fatigue created an opening for change. Trump and Newsom, symbols of division, were about to do the unthinkable. The stage was set for a meeting that could break the deadlock. America was ready for something new. And then, the news broke. On a quiet August Tuesday, rumors swirled. Trump and Newsom would meet, not to argue, but to talk. The air was thick with anticipation, as if everyone sensed something historic was about to unfold. Reporters whispered, cameras rolled, and the world waited for answers. The meeting took place in Austin, Texas, a neutral ground, far from Washington's gridlock and the usual political theater. Austin, known for its independent spirit, became the unlikely stage for a conversation that could reshape the nation's future. Cameras waited as Newsom arrived, serious and focused, his expression unreadable. Moments later, Trump appeared, adjusting his signature red tie, projecting confidence. The press captured every step, every glance, searching for clues about what might happen next. For 2 tense hours, they met behind closed doors. No one knew what was said, and speculation only grew. The silence from inside made the anticipation outside even more electric. Speculation ran wild. Was this a stunt, a secret deal, or the start of something more? Pundits debated, headlines blared, and social media exploded with theories. When the doors finally opened, the world watched with bated breath, every eye glued to the screens. Trump and Newsom walked out together, stood at twin podiums, and shook hands. The moment was choreographed, yet undeniably powerful. It wasn't a quick handshake. It was firm, deliberate, and symbolic. The grip lingered, sending a message that this was no ordinary meeting. Two supposed enemies side by side sent a shockwave through American politics. The crowd gasped, and even seasoned journalists were caught off guard. They didn't announce a grand alliance, but spoke about the nation's dangerous division. Their words were measured, but the message was clear. Something had to change. They revealed a plan, a bipartisan task force to tackle America's crumbling infrastructure. It was a rare moment of unity, a promise to work together for the common good. The handshake wasn't just for show, it was the start of a real project. Behind the scenes, teams were already preparing to get to work. The message was clear, the old rules were being broken. The boundaries of partisanship were shifting and the country was watching. This was more than a photo op, it was a signal that change was possible. The world took notice, and the story spread across continents. The handshake became an instant symbol of hope and controversy. Some cheered, others protested, but no one could ignore it. It was a moment frozen in time, but its impact was just beginning. The image would be replayed for years, a reminder of what was possible. America had never seen anything like it. The nation was stunned, and conversations erupted in homes, offices, and online. The question was, what would come next? Would this be a turning point, or just a fleeting moment in a divided era? The nation held its breath, waiting to see if this handshake would truly change the course of history. To grasp the magnitude, you need to know how different these men are. Trump, champion of conservative rural America, a populist outsider fighting the establishment. Newsom, progressive governor of California, face of urban, tech-driven liberal America. Their rivalry was personal and intense, each the other's political opposite. For years they led opposing armies in America's culture war. That's why their meeting was so shocking. They didn't agree on everything, but chose to set aside differences for a common goal: fixing America's infrastructure. This act of pragmatism made the alliance historic. Sometimes history is made by those willing to cross the battlefield. This moment shattered the rigid mold of American politics. For years, partisanship ruled. Cooperation was seen as betrayal. The Trump-Newsom handshake challenged that, showing even bitter rivals can work together. It sent a message: if they can do it, so can others. For Trump, it showed a pragmatic side. For Newsom, it elevated him as a statesman. Both took risks, but both stood to gain. This could be the first crack in the wall of division. It's a bold gamble that could define their futures. The old rules no longer apply. A new era might be beginning. The reaction was instant and explosive. Hardliners on both sides were outraged. Trump's base saw betrayal, progressives saw normalization of an enemy. Social media erupted with anger and confusion. But in the middle, millions of Americans felt hope. Exhausted by endless conflict, they saw leadership and possibility. The world watched too. America's allies and rivals wondered if the country could finally move past division. The handshake sent a signal. American pragmatism isn't dead. A more functional, united America would change the global equation. This was more than a domestic event, it had international implications. For the first time in years, the world saw a glimmer of American unity. The question, would it last? The answer would shape not just America but the world. The stakes had never been higher. What happens now? The Trump-Newsom task force is just the beginning. Can they push a real infrastructure bill through Congress? If they succeed, it could reshape both parties, forcing Republicans and Democrats to rethink their strategies. Compromise could become strength, not weakness. Both parties face internal battles, pragmatists versus purists. This alliance could spark a new era of bridge building or collapse under pressure. Even if it fails, it's changed the conversation. It's shown a different path is possible. The idea that America doesn't have to be this divided is now on the table. The future is uncertain, but the possibilities are real. This moment could be the start of something bigger, or just a brief pause in the conflict. In a world of endless news, it's easy to tune out, but moments like this remind us history is being written now, and it affects us all. Being informed isn't about picking sides, it's about understanding the forces shaping our lives. When rivals break the rules, we should ask why and what it means. This handshake is more than a headline, it's a test of what's possible. It challenges us to think beyond old divisions. The future isn't written yet. As this story unfolds, let's pay attention. What happens next will define our country and maybe our world. This is why we watch and why it matters.